Hello, beautiful soul family. I hope you all are having an amazing day. Now, on to part 3 of a spiritual awakening. If you have not watched the part 1 and the part 2 of a spiritual awakening, I encourage you to go and watch my first and second episode of a spiritual awakening. Now, on to part 3 of a spiritual awakening, we are going to talk about the shadow self. The shadow self. What it is about the shadow self? What does that mean, the shadow self? A psychologist, Carl Jung, spoke about the shadow self. He said it is that aspect of the human that has been buried deep within. Remember, I said if you have not watched the part 1 and part 2, please go and watch it so you'll be able to understand what we are talking about in this part 3. When we were little, we were young, because of those perspectives that we are born into. Let's say, for example, your parents want you to be a doctor, but you want to be a musician. You have this passion to sing. You have this passion to, use your voice. But because that is not what your parents want to you, and you want to fit into that perspective, you want to be accepted. Because the most important thing that led into so many childhood wounding is the need for acceptance. A lot of people battle with the need for acceptance. I want to belong, because that is the fundamental need of the human being, connection to other human, to feel belong, to feel part of. Because you want to feel belong, you want to feel part of. Because if your parents want you to be a doctor and you want to be a musician, there's going to be a clash in the objective. If you want to follow that pattern, in most, like the traditions in which I am born into, the culture in which I am raised in, you'll be forsaken, you'll be disowned by your family. You have to follow what they say. And so mostly, as a child, you repress that which you authentically want. What you desire, you kind of, go inwards. So that passion for music, you nail it deep within you. And just to fit in, just to be accepted, and then you became a medical doctor because that is what your parents want. And mostly, like I said in the first and second episode, anything can give you a sense of achievement. It's only when you are in your authentic purpose that you can have fulfillment. And mostly you can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you can be whatever it is you want to become, and then still be an unhappy person. You have this passion, something is driving you to something else. So because of this need for acceptance, we repress that which we authentically are. So those repressed aspects of us is what Carl Jung termed as the shadow self. Let's say, for example, based on religious perspective, they expect you to be the perfect religious person. You shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. The concept of good and bad, right and wrong is subjective, based on your culture, based on your tradition. That is why I said in part 2 of a spiritual awakening that you need to drop off those baggages, those religious templating belief system, live an open mind, be ready to learn, to understand, to develop. Because what God cannot relate to you beyond the capacity of the information you have, of your knowledge, of the state of your mind. So those aspects of us, I want to be a good Christian. I was born into a Christian home, raised into a Christian home. I need to be a good Christian. I need to be accepted by society. What is society's prescription for a perfect woman, a perfect lady, whatever it is? Or what is religious perspective for a perfect woman, a perfect lady, or a perfect guy, or a perfect man? You try to fit in, and lost in those identity, you repress that which you truly want to be, or that which you truly are, and then, you put on this mask. I heard TD Jakes said the other day that we parade our victories and hide our struggles. We mask ourselves to be accepted. We try to fit into the perspective of society. We try to fit in onto the expectations of our families, our cultures and tradition and our religions, and then we repress our authentic self. So those aspects of us is what is referred to as the shadow self. In the Christian perspective, That shadow self is what is referred to the devil. There is nothing out there that is called the devil. There is no devil that exists out there. It is us, the human, that hate one another, perpetuate violence, jealous, envy. And it's okay to feel all of those things. They are feelings. But like I said, the spiritual awakening is just the starting point for you to come to that perspective and begin to become aware of the shadow side of you. You hide that which you want to truly become. You hide how you truly feel. You suppress your emotion. They said, as a wife, you need to submit. And so you don't speak up. You don't speak when elders are speaking. Have you had those beliefs when elders speak, kids don't speak, women don't talk, all of those templates in belief system. You repress yourself. If you are a talkative like me, you have to repress that aspect of you. You don't say what you really want to say. You don't speak up. So that is what is called the shadow self. So when we have a spiritual awakening, here is what happened. Your shadow self comes up. You want to do that which you always want to do, what that makes you happy. You want to sing, you want to talk, you want to let your voice be heard, because one of the things we lost when we were suppressed, when we were victimized by our caregivers or our parents, is our voice of reasoning, our voice to speak up, our voice to say what we really want to say. As women, as leaders, especially for us women, we've gone through a lot of suppression from our authentic voice. So when you have a spiritual awakening, you regain your voice. When you wake up, you regain your voice, and so automatically, your shadow self begins to pop up. Like I said, what happens when your shadow self pop up? You need to work on that. You need to be aware. It comes for you to be aware that, I'm a jealous person. There's nothing wrong if you feel jealous. I want what you have. I want that hairstyle. I want that kind of clothing you wear. It's okay to feel all of those feelings. I want attention. If I have a husband, for example, and my husband is talking to the neighbors, do you know what happened when we are in that template in belief? I don't tell my husband directly, said, I need your attention. I'll just feel jealous when it's talking to this neighbor. And then what happened? A wounded woman will see that neighbor as a threat based on my own insecurities. And then because I haven't been healed, hiding my shadow self, suppressing my authentic feeling, and then I start seeing the neighbor as a threat. You want to take my husband. But actually, that was just a trigger to tell you that you need your husband's attention. And mostly we don't come openly and tell our husbands, I need you to spend a lot of time with me. I need your attention. I need time. We don't come from the front door. We go through the back door. And when we go through the back door, that is what is referred to in the Christian perspective as the devil. Because there's no being out there named the devil. It is that aspect of you that, perpetuate hate, violence, abuse, jealousy, the killing, everything. And so, witchcraft, to manipulate, using your power to manipulate others, not for their well-being, but just for your selfish interest. So the shadow self will pop up for you to work on that. You accept, you become aware that I'm a jealous person. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a feeling. It's okay for me to feel jealous. What do I do with this jealousy? I need to work on it. I need to feel confident. And it's also a pointer for what you are lacking. And mostly what happens, people feel jealous of others because they mirror that which they want to become, that which they wish to be. And mostly because we have this shadow self in us, this aspect of us that has been repressed. When we see a confident person, in you want to be a confident person. But for us, especially ladies, women, when you see a woman that is confident, what you do? We go through the back door. We start pulling them down. We start bad-mouthing them. Why? Because they mirror back to us. You see that person as a mirror. It mirrors back to you what you want to become, what you wish to become. All we need to do is to work on our shadow self. Accept the shadow self. It's okay to feel whatever way you are feeling. It's okay to feel because it's as a result of your childhood wounding. It's not your fault because right from childhood, you have been repressed. You have been suppressed. You have been subjugated. You have been victimized. So it's okay to feel those feelings. Those are your inner child, your woundings that you have to work on. They have to heal. If all of us understand this perspective and work on ourselves like Moses did, he had an anger issue. He went to the wilderness, work on himself for him to be able to achieve his objective, his mission for that which he was born to do. And so the shadow self is not a bad thing. The shadow self is that hidden part of us because we have to mask ourselves to fit into society's perspective. And so the shadow self, once it comes up, it's a pointer for that wounding that is in us, deeply rooted in us, that we need to work on for us to have a healthy life emotionally, psychologically, and physically. Have a good week.